forest elephants, of course, have very straight, downwards-facing tusks. They also tend to be quite small. Now, David, you want to know what about pygmy elephants? Fortunately, we don't get any pygmy elephants out here. As far as I know, there aren't any pygmy elephants anymore. It's something that has, obviously elephants came, or the elephant family came in many shapes and sizes in the past, historically, but we don't get any pygmy elephants anymore. The forest elephants are smaller though. They are much, much smaller than the savanna elephants, which makes sense. Another big reach? Yes, no? Oh, you're very beautiful, mister. Now, often when you see them break these branches off, they pull down the branch and then they actually hardly ever eat any of the leaves. They eat one or two and then they leave it. So it's nice to see that he hasn't wasted the branch that he's just pulled down. And while our Eddie Bull grazes peacefully now, Sean, you wanted to know whether African elephants are the most intelligent mammal that we get out here. That's arguable. They do have the largest brain of any mammal out here. They don't have the largest brain relative to body size, which is, of course, that goes to us as human beings, but not counting human beings, of course. The African elephants are very, very intelligent, and you only need to look into their eyes to see that, or to watch their dynamics as they interact with each other. I think that there is competition, though, for that top spot in terms of most intelligent mammal species, one of which could go to the hyena, particularly the spotted hyena. They're very, very bright indeed. Hey, boy. Oh, beautiful. This is such a lovely, 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 peaceful way to spend a morning. And there's another animal, and baboons. Baboons and monkeys are also very intelligent. Brent even asked me last night when I phoned him and told him about the baboon raid on Inga's. He even asked me whether or not our fridge was still intact, because baboons can and do learn to open things like fridges. And a very warm welcome to LM, and I hope you are enjoying your live safari experience. Yours is a name that I haven't heard before, so I hope you are having fun and that you're enjoying what we're experiencing happening right here and right now. And thank you for sending through your question. You want to know if he would allow me to pet him. He's about to show us the answer to that. The answer is no, absolutely not. These animals are completely 100% wild, from the lions you saw with FW to the antelope we've been watching, and of course these elephants. There are tame elephants that are found throughout Africa that you can ride. I have very, very strong feelings against that. Hello, my boy. I would never touch you, I promise. I promise. I would never go and pet you. Promise, promise. No, so these animals should be allowed to live completely wild, and they do. If I were to go and try and pet him, he would do one of two things. Most likely is he would run away. The other option is that he would flatten me quite successfully. So we won't be touching them. The elephants of all of the animals out here tend to be the ones that interact the most with us. And that's because, again, as we go back to that conversation, they are highly, highly intelligent. And I've often been struck, particularly in a peaceful elephant sighting, as they walk past me, and I can feel they're totally relaxed. I've often had this desire to go up and just rest my hand on their heads. Not a desire, just that fleeting feeling that perhaps that might be fun to do. But then I remember that I would never do that to a human being. Look at this. How cool is this? These animals are deserving of their respect, and they have personal space boundaries, just like we do. That's so cool. Devouring this marula tree. And just on the subject of elephants and our interactions with them. Oh, it's okay, my boy. It's alright. Aaron in New Zealand, as always, welcome to our sunrise safari. You wanted to know whether or not a wild elephant would come to recognize and trust a human if they saw them often enough. Yes, is the answer. come round the back. This isn't the same elephant with Brent, is it? No, different Ellie. Sorry, my boy, but that was naughty. That was naughty. Yes. Yes, go stand over there. He's going to do it again. Look at the indecision in his leg. Rocking backwards and forwards. Yeah, keep walking, big boy. Tell you what, I'll go away so you can come back and have your marula tree and you leave me alone. Okay. Right. Sorry about that. So we were talking about interactions. Now, the reason that I did that was he was watching the whole time, and he came up, he chose to come up to us, and he was feeding quite peacefully, and then he suddenly got it into his head that actually he was going to come and try and scare us. Now, all that I did was I just raised my tone, and that goes to show how intelligent elephants truly are, because they recognize tone. So before I was speaking in quite soft, quite low tones, when he came to come and try and intimidate us, I just tried to make it clear to him that we were not going to be intimidated. So it's not in any way trying to exert my will on the wild animal at all. It's just making sure that Dave and myself were safe in the vehicle. In that instant, you can see it in the body language, those ears out, looking tall, looking down his nose at us. Now, because especially with this roof on, it might be that he was slightly confused by the shape of it. I just made sure he heard a human voice, and I made sure that he heard a human sound as well, because we're still learning exactly how these animals are interacting or seeing it. He's going to come and try and chase us down the road. I'm going to move out of his space because he's made it clear that he doesn't want us here, which is fine. Although he's really actually just being a bit naughty. But we'll give him his space because he's far enough away that we can move away from him. Don't even think about chasing me because I'll come back and catch you. Yeah. He's walking off. I'm going to back up, give him some space just so that he can come and eat his marula tree. Although I don't think he was all that interested in it to start. I actually think half of that was for show for us. Look how big and strong I am. How intimidating I am. But I'm going to back up and give him space because that's a warning sign. If I were to ignore that, he'd probably not do anything to us. But it's not fair on him. We were talking about respect for these animals. If he's given us an indication that he'd prefer us not to be in his space, I warned him because he came to us, and now I've acknowledged that I've heard his warning, and we're moving off and we're letting him have his space back again. I'm just making sure he's not creeping around behind us, but he's not. Sometimes the little boys do that as a way of trying to intimidate us. Oh, excuse me. And do I think wild elephants would learn to recognize human voices, a specific human voice, and come to trust them? Yes, I do. I think if they were exposed to that person often enough or frequently enough, and there's stories of wild elephants getting to know individuals and coming to trust them. Most of the time, though, it's just in your responses and the way in which you interact with that animal. Naughty boy. Right, well, let's go and see whether or not James has any opinions on whether or not elephants would come to trust individuals. I think he'll agree, but let's go see what he says.
Do I think elephants come to trust individuals? Yes, I do. I think that they chase certain individuals as well. There's something about, I've told this story before, but there's something about one of the women I used to work with, but elephants used to hate her for some reason. She was the most sensitive. She was very, very like Jamie. Very sensitive in the bush, extremely knowledgeable, and elephants just used to chase her. So she had a horrible time with them. I think elephants, I don't know if I've no doubt that they understand individuals. We know from camps like Abu Camp, where, by the way, elephant riding, back riding, has just been stopped. But we know that when they were still doing that stuff with captive elephants, the elephants absolutely recognized the people that fed them and looked after them, and they would rumble in greeting to the people who used to look after them. So that's quite interesting. So definitely they recognize individuals. Okay, now there are two things going on here. Let's first look at the microscope. What we have there is a bracket fungus. And what I think is quite interesting about the underside of it is all those holes. And that's where the spores come from. That's where the seeds that this thing grew from emerge, and they get scattered to the wind. And these ones seem to have been carefully scattered to the wind. Isn't that quite nice? It looks quite delicious. I'd be tempted to eat that if I didn't think I might die immediately. Then, of course, we have another kind of fungus that is mixed in with an algae. And I'll show it to you now. There we are. It's a lichen. Now, we've looked at lichens a few times before under the microscope, but I'm going to do it again because there are 2 or 3 kinds on this one small branch that I found on the ground. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Every time you look slightly closer down or zoom into nature, you find an astonishing array of extra beauty in colour and different shapes and sizes of things. Okay, so that's one species. And then there's another one there. Oh, hang on. Oh, no. There we go. There it is. So that yellow thing there is another species of lichen. Now, as I've said to you before, lichens are a symbiotic relationship between fungus and algae. And they've almost formed one organism, but not quite. They're still not quite yet an organism on their own, and they form an entirely different kingdom of organism from animals and plants and fungi and algae and protozoans and bacteria, etc. Right. Now, the next thing I want to do, because Brian lent me his scalpel, very nice, is chop up this moth. This moth is dead. Yes, quite dead. Very stiff. Let's see what it looks like inside. Are you ready, everybody? This is called Moth Surgery 101. Very nice. There are the hardened insides. So that's not particularly amazing. Good. Okay, let's keep going. That is the chitinous exoskeleton that you can hear cracking up there. Yes, I wouldn't describe that as the most fascinating dissection I've ever done. Anyway, there it is. Let's just have a quick look then at the, that's glue, by the way, it's not bits of moth insides. What I want to do is have a look at the proboscis and the eyes. Oh, that is the stuff of nightmares. So there are the eyes, simple eyes, that are able, very simple lenses. Each one of those little sort of hexagonal shaped lenses is a simple eye, as far as I can work out, and they pick up differences in light and dark, and I think that's pretty much all an owl can see. I think it'd probably make out basic shapes, but not much else. Then, just below that is the proboscis, and that is the proboscis that's used to stick into flowers and suck out the nectar. So just about all of these moths, in fact, I think every single one of them are, well, are they all vegetarians? Certainly none of them are predators. Some of them, I think, do eat a little bit of carrion. They'll go and suck on sort of decaying animal matter. But most of them have a proboscis like this so that they can get to the nectar of plants. Isn't that beautiful? I think it's astounding. Good. Okay, well, let's put him back there. And let's see if we can't maybe just extend the proboscis. But I suspect that rigor mortis has set in, and that it's not going to be possible to extend it. Right, I've chopped it off. Now, let me get my tweezers. Where are my tweezers? My tweezers have been taken. There they are. Let's see if we can't unwrap it slightly. You know, sometimes fingers are just better. We'll take it to something slightly larger than this shortly. Yes, I'm afraid this is not going to... Oh, yes it is. It's going to open up. Because it looked to It's in two parts. I don't know why it's in two parts. But it's got little teeth on the end of it, and I'm sure that's to sort of saw its way into the nectar-holding parts of the flowers. Very nice. What an impressive dissection that was. Okay, that's enough from us on this particular segment. Let us go and find out how the Ninkapumas are doing with Frederick Wilhelm.
Yeah, still sleeping lions. They all settled down well now. Cubs, some of them have moved around a bit and found a more comfy place. It's stopped raining at the moment, so some are out of the bushes and maybe relaxing, hoping for the sun to come out to dry them out. The two males haven't moved again. They're just hiding. I think Tino was right in front of us, somewhere in the bush. And then Form was somewhere to the right of us, hiding. Victor. So, Lani, you're asking if I've ever seen a male without a mane. I have. Yeah, I have. There's a place called the Hoedspruit Endangered Species Center, a little bit further north of us here. And yeah, they have a rescued lion from, I don't know if it was a zoo or a circus or something, somewhere in Europe, and that male didn't have a mane. I think it was, yeah, it's actually a very sad story. It was castrated early on in life and it didn't get a chance to grow and develop a mane at all. So I don't think it's a genetic defect. It's just sad that it never got the chance to grow properly. Yeah, it's quite sad when those things happen. I think the first time those lions came to this endangered species center was the first time they actually touched the grass. So they've been living on concrete slabs their entire lives until they got rescued by this center. It's amazing the work that those centers do for animals like that. I personally am not too fond of visiting centers like that, and that's just me. I like where we are now, being out in the bush and seeing the animals in their natural habitat. So yeah, I think they do a good job, but it's not something that I would visit on a regular basis. It's good to go past and see what's happening at those places. Well, we're going to leave these guys. They're not doing much, but it sounds like Jamie has found one of the other Birmingham boys.
Stumbled upon, I believe, rather than found. We stumbled upon one of the other Birmingham boys. So here's something with a mane that is definitely all male and on a territorial patrol. So one of the Birmingham boys moving through, scent marking. He saw or he heard something in the Milwaukee riverbed that has attracted his attention. Now he's going to move through this particular spot. I think he's just cutting the corner though, so we're not going to follow him off-road. We're going to stick with him. We're just going to loop around him. I think he's going to pop. Yeah, he's just cutting the corner. Perfect. What a nice surprise. This is the joys of live safaris, is that you get these unexpected moments. I'm not sure which Birmingham male it is. I haven't had a chance to see his face. I've only seen the back end of him for now. He seems to be on a mission. He's probably, they often walk this route, the Birmingham boys, along Twin Dams Road. And he's probably planning on crossing south. There's something there. Is that just a branch? Behind that quarry bush, Dave, right in front of him, there's something there. A little bit further up. I think it might just be a tree branch or something. Yeah, I think it's the root system of a tree. My apologies. I'm seeing things. I'm definitely not imagining the big male lion walking along the road, though. How awesome is that shot? The silent stride. Oh, it's an Inyala. There is something there. It's an Inyala. It's a male Inyala staring at him. Oh, there it goes. And gone. hallucinating. It was something there. It was an Inyana frozen with fear, and now barking their alarm calls. Well, that wasn't a very subtle sneak up on them, if that's what you were aiming to do, mister. You walked straight at them. Wasn't really what he was thinking about doing. There we go. Rubbing his cheek on the guarri branches, and then to the Inyana, making sure there's no possibility of a quick snack. Now, his aim isn't hunting. His aim is scent marking. However, if an Inyana were to foolishly perhaps run in towards him, or perhaps he had a slightly better position in which to hunt them, he absolutely would. Lions, like all of our big cats, are opportunistic hunters. So if the opportunity presents itself, they will grab it with both hands, or paws, and teeth, as the case may be. I'm not sure. I know Mfumo was with the Nkuhumas. Were there any other male lions? Tino was there as well, apparently. Now, I wonder which male lion this is, because we haven't had... The Impala are all alarm calling now. We haven't had the Birmingham boys we haven't had more than 2 Birmingham boys in quite a while, at least that I can remember. But I had a question about whether or not the Birmingham boys have ever been challenged, and we said we'd get back to that. Oh, you can hear the Impala shouting at the male lion. Yes, in a way they have been challenged. When they came into this area, of course, they pushed the Matimbas out. But, oh, there go monkeys as well, and a Wahlberg's eagle. Everything's shouting. Lots of responses from the different animals in the bush. Let's catch up with them and see the monkeys alarm calling at him as well. But in terms of being challenged, yes, they would have been. They had to establish their boundaries, and of course male lions, they would have come into contact with male lions. We might not necessarily have seen it or heard about it, but I have no doubt they clashed with the Salati males. I know they clashed with the Salati males that were up to the north at one point. And you'll probably find that there were other males on their boundaries as well. I don't know whether they've ever met the mighty force of the Majingiland males, but they definitely have earned their spot as the dominant males of this area. Oh, he's calling. Listen to the sounds that have exploded out of the bush. Even the Wahlbergs is alarm calling. A lion is not a popular creature out here. Now, when you hear a cacophony of sounds like that, you know there is a big cat somewhere. Oh, found something really nice smelling. I think he might even roll it. Let's catch up with him. So I can't do it. I can't do it today. Not with my current cold. But I'll show you the monkeys, or I'll try to show you the monkeys that are alarm calling. But hold on, he's rolling. The whole world is here. Hello, boy. Who have we got here? Let me get my head out of your way. So, Nsugo or Nena? Who have we got here? I think it's Nsugo. Or Blondie. Oh, look at him. He's having such a wonderful time rolling in something smelly. Wonder if one of his buddies didn't come through and mark this area at some point not too long ago, because there's something there that smells really nice that he's enjoying. Oh. himself in whatever smells so nice. Excuse me. He's making little, I don't know if you can hear it, but he's making little soft grunting noises every now and again. I wonder what is in there that he's enjoying so much. And you see it with all of our predators when they find, particularly with wild dogs and sometimes with hyena, but lions do it as well when they find a scent that they enjoy, go and roll themselves in it. Those of you with perhaps cats or dogs particularly will know that they do that. Look at what you've done to your mane on that side. It's all matted now. Yes, everything knows you're here. He's got a fresh cut above his left eye. 2 marks, actually. Look like puncture wounds. And those could have been from anything. They could have been from fighting with other males, or it might have come from hunting. So while our lion lounges around, doing what lions do best, let's go over to James so that he can bid you adieu.
How cool is that to see another one of the Birmingham boys? I was just thinking as I did my morning constitutionals this morning that it was sad we hadn't seen Nsuku and Nana for so long. I'm not sure which one that is. I find it very difficult to tell the difference, and I'm very sad, in fact, that Mfumo's face is starting to heal. I hope he maintains a good scar there so that we can keep recognizing him. Anyway, I've got one last thing to show you, and that is that flower. And it is the flower of the devil's thorn. We get devil's horn and devil's thorn. This one is the devil's thorn, and it makes what my father used to describe as devilkies. Now, devilkie is a small devil, and a small devil is a sort of 3-pointed thorn. So no matter on which side it lies on, it will always stick into your foot and make you say a bad word. And that's how it distributes the seed, of course. It's on those thorns. And I thought we'd have one last look at the dam camera. And just to give you an idea of, well, there we go, very nice. Wide, we've had a couple of birds around there, and in fact the Zoomy, just before we came to this section, found a whole patch of these devil's thorn flowers. And there are Egyptian goose and 2 hardydars. Hello, Jippo Goose. Standing next to your own dung. Very nice. And perhaps onto the hardy darts, Mr. Zoomy, if possible. Or Mrs. Zoomy, Miss Zoomy, Mrs. Ah, it is Siberia. Marco, may we have a quick look at the hardy dar ibis, please? The hardy dars are to the left of the Egyptian goose. Right, never mind. Let's come back here. Thank you very much for coming with me on our little journey of discovery here in the tent. Every time I have left you, I've gone fossicking about outside. We found some interesting things, and hopefully when the sun comes out after this rain, we'll have a few more interesting things to show you. Until this afternoon, enjoy the rest of the drive, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Alright. What a beautiful drive it's been this morning. Nice and wet. Some nice lions. And it was a brilliant morning out in the bush. I hope everyone has a lovely day wherever they might be. Enjoy. We're going to head back over to Jamie. Brian and the Thumb also wants to say goodbye. Thank you, Brian, for all your help today. Let's head over to Jamie and see if she's still with that male lion.
Our male lion is up and moving once again. And just for those of you that were curious as to what he was rolling in, he was rolling in hippo dung. As I drove past, I had a jolly good look at what had attracted his attention and obviously seemed so thoroughly appealing. It was fresh hippo dung from last night. Contact call. Come on, raw for us at the last few minutes. Awesome. it was half-hearted. Okay, quickly. We've got a minute and a half. Let's move quickly to a slightly better view. Oh. Flop. There we go. It's okay, boy. Just stop right there. And there we go. The end of our sunrise safari. Here's with our male lions stretched out and not concerned at all that he has disturbed everything in his vicinity. The monkey's still calling, the impala still alarm calling, and unfortunately that brings us to the end of our sunrise safari. So a big thank you to Dave for your wonderful camera work. Thank you, Dave. As well as to Kirsty and to Lou in Final Control. Most importantly, a big thank you to all of you watching across the globe. I think you'll all enjoy, rather than finishing off looking at my face, I'm sure you'd all much rather look at a sleepy lion. What a fantastic sunrise, lion-filled sunrise safari it has been, with one elephant thrown into the mix and some very soggy impala. Join us again in just a few short hours for the sunset safari. We'll see if we don't have any further luck following up on gorilla, and perhaps even have a chance to shoot across to cheetah plains and CHEETAH. Until we see you again, have a fantastic day or evening, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye, everybody.